Welcome. I am a lay Shin Buddhist who nevertheless maintains an interest in the broader realm of Pure Land and Mahayana Buddhist teachings. My YouTube channel is called Akala Akala, that is A-C-A-L-A, A-C-A-L-A. In these podcasts, I make a non-scholarly, humble, and sometimes bumbling attempt to explore a particular topic or question related to the wonderful Buddha Dharma. I hope you find them to be of interest. With that said, let us begin. So, in this podcast, I would like to bring to your attention one of the verses from the so-called Sagathakam, which forms the very end of the Lankavatara Sutra, and it consists of 884 four-line poems, among which 205 also appear in the main body of the Lanka. According to D.T. Suzuki, these Sagathakam verses were probably added later into the Lankavatara text. He explains in a footnote in his translation of the sutra that the subjects treated are many and varied, including those that have never appeared in the text. In any case, again, the primary focus in this podcast will be on one of those verses. But before we get to that, the other aspect that I want to discuss or comment upon before actually getting to the verse in question is the Trikaya doctrine within Mahayana Buddhism. The Trikaya doctrine, according to Suzuki, was not fully fleshed out in the Lanka, but there are some references to terms that allude to its evolution within the thinking of the Mahayana Buddhists. I find this doctrine to be quite interesting and quite useful, and I find it to have relevance to us Pure Land Buddhists. In this sense, we have the Dharmakaya, which is the truth body or the law body, which is beyond all words and concepts. It cannot be described by any attributes whatsoever. Sometimes it is referred to as sunyata or emptiness, or sometimes as suchness, which is sort of a reference to the immediate here and now experience that we have of reality at this very moment. But in any case, the Dharmakaya is again beyond all words and concepts and cannot be grasped, so to speak, by our human thinking process, which by definition is dualistic in its way of functioning. Going now to the second so-called Buddha body, we hear of the Nirmanakaya, or form body, or transformation body. When a Buddha manifests in physical form as a human being in order to teach human beings about the doctrine, which, again, Sakyamuni Buddha is the one that we're most familiar with as being the historical Buddha in this particular so-called Saha world, or our earth. And third, which is of most interest to us here, is the so-called Sambhogakaya level, which I think of as sort of a spiritual level. This is the level that's inhabited by various cosmic or celestial Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that we can imagine as existing all around us in our world as well as in worlds and Buddha lands throughout the universe. We can read about and learn about many of these Sambhogakaya beings as we ponder the various Mahayana scriptures or sutras. And of course, the one that we're most interested in as Pure Land Buddhists is Amida Buddha, and I think we're all fairly familiar with the story of Amida and how he, as a cosmic bodhisattva eons ago, named Dharmakara, made his vows that were the stimulus or the power which then permitted him to create Sukhavati, or his pure land of bliss, where we will be reborn when we die. Just as a sidebar, in terms of the dynamics of that process, it was by Dharmakara exercising good works throughout many eons of time that generated the merit that was the basis for giving the power to his vow, particularly his 18th vow, which says that all we have to do is entrust in him and that we will be reborn without doubt. Well, in any case, the word kaya means body, and this trikaya or three-body doctrine of the Buddha basically says that there are these three bodies, which of course in essence are just one body because, ultimate reality is non-dual. So in some sense, everything emanates from the Dharmakaya. But when we get to another point in terms of the Sambhogakaya, we have learned within Pure Land Buddhism that all the other cosmic Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are emanations from Amida Buddha. Now, not all schools of Buddhism believe this. In other words, there are other schools of Buddhism that tout another one of these cosmic Buddhas as being supreme, and a prominent example would be Shingon or esoteric Buddhism, where they tout Vairochana Buddha as being the sort of the ultimate supreme Buddha. But again, we're Pure Land Buddhists, and for us, it's Amida. And this was not a novel concept within Honen or Shinran's thought. This emerged very, very early within Mahayana doctrine. And this verse in the Lankavatara Sutra demonstrates that. First, I'll recite verse 140, which kind of sets the scene for the Sambhogakaya cosmic worlds. The world is everywhere filled with Buddhas of maturity, Buddhas of transformation, beings, bodhisattvas, and Buddha lands. Here again, the system is not totally fleshed out, but we see reference to Buddhas of transformation, for example, as being the form body Buddhas, which exist in human form. But anyway, going to 141, the core of this particular podcast, it says, the issuing Buddhas, Dharma Buddhas, transformation Buddhas, and those that appear transformed, they all come forth from Amitabha's land of bliss. So even the transformation Buddhas or form bodies, like Sakyamuni, he comes from Amida's land of bliss in order to teach us human beings and to provide us comfort. And of course, this reference to Amitabha is the Sanskrit for Buddha of infinite light. Light, to my mind, being wisdom or sunyata, or the awareness or appreciation of the fact that ultimate reality is non-dual, beyond thought, beyond concepts of any kind that we can conjure in our limited thinking minds. Amitayus is his other name, the Buddha of infinite life, and that, of course, is a basis for us realizing that we have this source of comfort to us even now, these many hundreds and thousands of years later, or eons or kalpas later, relative to when Dharmakara made his vows. I'll end this podcast again with the recitation of verse 141 from the Sagathakam at the end of the Lankavatara Sutra. The issuing Buddhas, Dharma Buddhas, transformation Buddhas, and those that appear transformed, they all come forth from Amitabha's land of bliss. Namo Amida Butsu. With that, I will sign off by reciting the Nembutsu in gratitude for being embraced and accepted just as I am by Amida Buddha, never, never to be abandoned. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.